Hey yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel and I have here my friend here. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Isaiah. Yeah, so I live in Addis Ababa.
Yeah. He's been in Addis like for the past 3 months.
Yes, 3 months actually. Yeah.
And basically this video we just want to talk about the cost of living here in Addis. I've been here like for the past 1 week, and I would say this city has kind of shocked me. But due to the fact that he's been here for a very long time, we'll actually know more stuff from him. Since you came here, how has been Addis for you?
Addis has been pretty awesome for most of it. I think there's with every city there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages. Primarily, I can say there's a lot of advantages with, especially like, for example, with most of the residential areas within the central business district. So everything is at an arm's reach. So yeah, pretty much awesome.
So I would say that since I came here, the cheapest thing I've actually took here in Ethiopia is beer. Beer is very, very cheap in this country, apart from other things.
From talking to different people, I've had the minimum wage is pretty low. I think it actually shocked me and you at the same time. You've had like the minimum average for an individual. Let's say, for example, someone who's doing manual tasks in your, for example, house.
Like house help or something.
Yeah, or maybe a construction worker, or someone who's working maybe in a shop somewhere. More probably less, you'll get around 2,500 beer. Which is like $50.
$50.
Yeah, so that's the minimum average.
People get paid very low amount of money here.
Yeah.
And however, I don't know how these people survive, because this is a very, very expensive city. I won't lie. Because we went asking for some clothes, and it was like twice the amount of money I would pay for the same type of cloth here in Kenya. And another thing, tell me something about Ethiopia not allowing people to come in, or ship second-hand clothes, things like that.
Yeah, so pretty much there are a lot of restrictions, whether it's to do with inputs. They're trying to minimize or tax most unnecessary things that you don't need, for example. And that's why you see the cost of a vehicle in Addis Ababa is twice or thrice expensive as in Kenya. Like a normal Vitz here will cost you around 800,000 birr. That's a used Vitz. Actually, it's not a new one, which is the same in Nairobi mostly, but you find a low mileage. In Nairobi, you'll get the same vehicle, or in Kenya, you'll get the same vehicle for around $6,000. But here, that same vehicle will cost you around $16,000 to $17,000. So, pretty much big differences. Yeah, and you see also other things, for example, clothes. Clothes are very expensive.
Clothes are very expensive.
Very expensive. I was talking to another Nigerian when I was here. I was staying at a hotel before I shifted to my house. And when we started discussing, the first thing he told me, I was even shocked. He told me clothes here are expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah, so that was pretty much a shocker for me. And I think the biggest contributor or factor is Ethiopia is a landlocked country.
Yes.
There's no port, so they depend importing things from Djibouti. They come in from Djibouti and then they go to Addis Ababa. And also the taxes are pretty much high. Like a vehicle tax is 300% compared to what we have in Kenya.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a very expensive country. I won't lie, but locals, we've tried arguing with locals here around, and they're like, Ethiopia is a very cheap country. As a tourist, when you come here, or as a foreigner, when you come here, you'll just, feel the vibe. And another thing I would say is that Safaricom is also planning. Safaricom is a network, company from Kenya, originally from Kenya, and they're actually planning to extend their wide region area here in Ethiopia. Tell me something about that.
Yeah, so basically Safaricom is a company in Kenya. As you know, it's the primary mobile telecommunication company. They got a license to operate in Ethiopia. They paid roughly $600 million for that license to operate here. So, and that's another thing actually. So, starting a business in Ethiopia is also expensive. They try to minimize the external investors. So what they do instead is they give you a very high tax or a very high, for example, registration fee to maybe desist you. But regardless, Safaricom or the Vodafone group is coming to Ethiopia. They've been given the license to start. They've already had employment opportunities out there. They're hiring people, and the plan is to start with Addis Ababa and then divert to the other cities within Ethiopia. So basically, they want to compete with Ethio Telecom.
Yeah, and Ethiopia. Something I've actually discovered with Ethiopia. These guys don't like competition. It's very, because Ethio Telecom is the only network service here in Ethiopia. And another thing, when we were working with him, we've actually discovered that so many houses that are actually being built, like over 100, are actually currently being built in the middle of Addis Ababa. So, in the next, where do you see or where do you feel that Ethiopia or Addis Ababa will be like in the next 10 years?
I feel Addis Ababa will actually be a regional hub to reckon with, because with the investment opportunities that are coming up, and especially with African Union being the headquarters in Ethiopia, and also a lot of international presence. You're seeing the German Development Corporation, we're seeing the United Nations expanding their operations here, and also we're seeing a lot of Chinese investment coming in through. And actually, that brings us to one point that we're seeing a lot of Chinese influence. So the same what we're seeing in Kenya is happening also here, and most of the foreign investors are Chinese, building the roads, the infrastructure. Even the new building we saw that remember the driver was telling us that to be open in the next 2 weeks. That was built also by the Chinese.
It's like the tallest building here in Addis.
So that would be for I think the National Bank of Ethiopia, if I'm not wrong. Maybe please correct us. We're not really sure about this.
And another thing, while we were walking, I've been in Ethiopia for a very kind of a long time, and I've discovered that ATM machines are actually just in the open, like they're not guarded. It's safe with them, and that's just something you find in Kenya. The ATM machines are always hidden in a place whereby before you get in, there must be a CCTV there, there must be a watch guard or a police who's actually guarding you to get in. So I would say that Addis is a very much improved, developed city here in Africa. How would you compare Nairobi and Addis?
There are a lot of things that I can say. There's a big difference. I can say a very big difference. I think if you've lived for Nairobi for a while, you'll see a lot of there's a certain way of living in Nairobi, and there's a certain way of living in Addis Ababa. So you've talked about, for example, the security. You'll never see an ATM outside a building, and it's not even fortified. It's like an ATM which you can actually carry with a car. And also in the banks here, you never see an armed security guard in the bank. That is so weird. If you go to Nairobi, every bank has to have at least 2 security guards. I can talk. Maybe I'll start with the transport infrastructure. For Addis Ababa, definitely the transport infrastructure is better than Nairobi.
It's very better.
The trains are actually cheap. $4. We paid $4 for a train ride. I think it was roughly 2 kilometers.
It was 4 beer.
4 beer. Sorry, actually, 4 beer.
4 beer, not $4.
Not $4.
It's very cheap. Like to go around the city, you can use the train. It's the electric train. It's actually affordable. 4 beer, that's like less than 10 Kenya shillings.
That's pretty much cheap. You can't get that in Kenya.
The DMU train we use, it's always like $1, 100 Kenya shillings.
And also, we if you look at the BRTs,
the BRT buses,
very organized with predefined routes. We don't see the chaos with the matatu industry in Kenya here. There are matatus here, but there are not that many. I think it's limited to certain areas. And in terms of the traffic jams, yes, Addis Ababa has traffic jams, but it's moderate. You can't compare it to Nairobi.
You can't compare it to Nairobi.
And then I think I'll go maybe to things like infrastructure. Infrastructure-wise, I will say Nairobi is much more advanced. In terms of the urban development and the regional cities or the regional areas surrounding Nairobi are pretty much really developed. For Addis Ababa, I think once you leave Addis Ababa, you will see the difference. Just the outskirts of Addis Ababa, not really outside. And also another thing maybe to talk about, I can say, if you're in Addis Ababa, you look at, for example, the residential areas. In Nairobi, we're pretty much used to seeing, for example, where expats live, we're used to seeing them in Runda, for example, the UN, Karen or Kilimani, Kileleshwa. But they're actually outside
the city, yeah.
Yeah, but for here, it's inside.
Yeah. That's what I was actually telling you guys in my previous video, whereby everywhere you go, you'll see people actually staying in the middle of the city. Some of like, how? Because with us Kenyans, we're not actually, but it's a thing, but us Kenyans are just used to it. We just know that the cities where the business happened, and at the end of the day, people go back, they stay out of the city.
Yeah, it's really weird. It takes some time. Even where we're staying right now, if you just go outside, you're already in town. Like you walk a few meters, you're already in town. So that's also an advantage and also a disadvantage. I think that maybe the disadvantage can be about the noise or something else. Yeah.
But another thing, these guys, they drive on there.
They drive on the left. They always keep right, but the driver sits on the left side.
On the left side.
And they keep right.
So for the past few days, it's been confusing. A car almost knocked me because with us we always told look left, right,
and then cross,
and then look left again and then cross. I was like right.
So if you're not used to it, you'll be pretty confused.
If you're not used to it, but it's good that I actually had him around, so at least before I got knocked, he'd be like, yo, watch out for that car.
Yeah, and also I think the first time when you come here, the one thing that if maybe you haven't gone to a lot of countries that the driver is on the left, each time you'll be like, let's say for example you've ordered a taxi, the first thing you'll do is gonna go to the driver's side, and then he'll look at you like, do you wanna drive or something? You're used to the driver, the passenger is on the
right side.
Well, the passenger is on the left and the driver is on the right. But here it's the opposite, so you get confused.
I got another thing, since I came here I haven't tried using the public transport, maybe the train. It's because I've never used a lot of taxis in my life ever than here in Addis. You've taken over the taxis 10 times. But it's when you go to a different country, you have to, kind of explore and, do their thing. And there are actually types of taxis that operate here. There's no Uber. That's what I was saying. These guys are actually afraid of competition. There's no Uber, whereby Uber is actually an international thing. Exactly. It's not here. So they have Ride.
Yeah, Ride and Ferris.
And Ferris. They only have the two types of taxis here. And the normal taxis, the ones for the blue ones. The blue ones,
really old. I think the old Dustans, 1980 models and things like that.
It's very expensive compared to them.
And it's risky.
Yeah, it's very risky.
Because now you see, there's no accountability. If a guy wants to, you're pretty much new, and if he wants to take you to his friends to rob you, there's nothing you can do. Unless maybe mark his number plate. But for at least for Ride and Ferris, there's accountability because they have the driver's credentials, they know who it is, who picked you up, where he dropped you. Yeah. So no Uber.
No Uber.
No Bolt.
And few months ago there was some kind of attacks going around in Ethiopia. But pretty much I would say here in Addis the security is very very tight. You walk, you see a police. Few seconds, you see a police. And actually because I actually came with a bus from Kenya to Ethiopia, we actually had so many checkpoints, over 100 checkpoints. Once you got to, because I never came directly, I went to Moyale, then took different buses, coming here to Addis. But I would say Addis it's growing, and in the next coming few years, it's going to, shock a lot of people. Another thing I would say with vloggers or people walking around with the camera, people are actually so much insecure with the camera. If a local sees you, they go call the police. And it actually happened to me when I went to the Mankato market. I hope you guys have actually watched that video. Or if I haven't uploaded it, it will be the next. So, what you do close with Addis? Just say something about Addis Ababa.
For me, I think I'll say Addis is a city to visit.
Yeah.
There's so many experiences, and with every, I can say if you're a tourist, if you're a traveler, you always want to experience the authentic culture. And if you want to find authenticity, find it in Ethiopia. The food, the women, And
of course, yeah.
And definitely the culture in itself and in different places. So for me, come to Addis Ababa, come to Ethiopia, you get to see the other side of life.
It's a very awesome city, and I'll actually be coming back because there's actually so much unfinished business in this city. But I come back, definitely I want to be vlogging because I've actually got into a lot of trouble, trouble with the police. So I'll just try and come back and have fun in a very different way.
Yeah.
So guys, I would say come to Addis if you wanna stay here. Yeah, you get houses, but they're actually very expensive. Very, very expensive. When you come here, have the mentality that you're actually going to spend a lot of cash. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Go check out his Instagram.
Yeah, so I'm Isaiah basically _Kello. I'm on IG. Pretty much that's where I am.
Yeah, and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Vince Olwal. See you guys in the next video.
Bye bye.